What I'd like to present to you today is mindfulness meditation, a practice which, when done, is supposed to help us to put a little distance between us and our normal reaction to events. So something happens in your life and we react mostly in a certain way, based on our conditioning, what we've learned over the years. And mindfulness, the seed of the mindfulness is just to put a little space between your habitual reaction, and give this little space, give you a chance to react, to respond, we could say, give you a bit more possibilities that otherwise we might not have. And the way we go about this is quite simple. We start off, first we need to set some time aside, to practice. You don't need any special meditation cushions or benches or any special equipment. You just need to have a little time. And what you can do is to observe the breath. You could also choose to observe just the rising and falling of the chest, it goes up and down, or tummy, whatever is easier for you. Because it's not about the breath. The breath isn't like it's magical in the sense of you're aware of your breath and then bang, some kind of enlightenment state or something happens. No, it's just, the breath is just something that's always constant, in and out. And so the chest rising up and down is the same. So you choose whichever feels comfortable for you. And you put your attention on that. And what will happen as you start to do this is you'll be putting your attention in your breath going in and out, and the mind will simply wander off to something else. And that's okay. You don't think, oh no, I'm not doing it. The mind wanders off to something else. You think, oh no, I'm doing it wrong. No, you're not doing it wrong. It's perfectly okay. You simply notice that, that's a part of it, because that's what the mind does. It goes there and there, it jumps around, and you notice that. The mind jumped to something, and at some point you notice, oh, I'm thinking about something I did with my friends. And then you notice, oh, but what I wanted to do was to think about my chest rising and falling, or the breath going in and out, whichever you chose. And you simply bring the mind gently back to what you're putting the attention on. And just notice as the chest rises and falls and rises and falls. That the awareness is always there, even if the mind runs off to your friend. You're not like in somewhere else outside of the moment, because often people say you're not in the moment. You're actually in the moment thinking about your friend. Where else would you be? You're always in the moment. So it's no point trying to be in the moment, because you're always in the moment. You're in the moment thinking about your friend. And all you're doing is bring the mind back to being aware, so that the awareness is just focusing on the in and out of the breath. And that's all. It's like being able to have your attention on something and one specific thing for a length of time. That's what you're trying to practice. so that you have a bit more how would I say this, influence, or it's not even concentration, but just that you can make the decision. I'm going to be thinking about the breath, and then the mind stays with what you choose to put your attention on. And it has to be trained to do that. It's not just going to do that. You have to train it like anything else. And that's what we're doing. So that when you're maybe in a situation where suddenly the emotion starts to get fire, you can then put the mind to look, what's happening now? And in this moment, you're giving yourself a little space so that you can respond instead of react. Because our mind is functioning very much from habits and from, as I said at the start, conditioning. And we want to a little bit loosen the grip of the conditioning. So that's what the practice is about. So it may be that you sit in a chair, or you lay on the floor or on your bed. The bed is not the best place because you probably will fall asleep. And then you find yourself, you decide for your breath, for example, and you're putting the attention in the breath, going out and in and out and so on. You're just noticing that. And the space between the breaths also, you notice. Because when you breathe out, there's a little space each time. And then as you do that, as I said, the mind, through habit, will just, some kind of thing will probably come along and take the mind away to that thing. That is you'll be thinking about maybe your friend, and then you find yourself somewhere else, because the mind works from association. So it moves from one association to the next association. And then at some point you notice that. And then you take it back to the breath. And then as you do that, you might find that you only actually stayed with your breath for a very short time. Most of the time you were thinking about your friend. So you took 20 minutes thinking about your friend or whatever it might be. And that's okay. It's like anything else that you learn. If you're riding a bicycle, first you take a little while before you get the hang of it. So this is just the same. You're just training the mind for a particular to do a particular thing for you. So that's mindfulness. They call that mindfulness practice. And of course, there are many different practices, not just the breath, but that's what we are dealing with today. And I don't claim to be expert at mindfulness practice, but this just brings the attention back. It's an interesting and enjoyable practice. And as you do that, sitting in your chair or laying on the floor, whatever you may have choose, you can also do that when you're walking. You could also do this when you're listening to someone. Just listening. Just bring your attention to listening. And noticing that how your mind's listening. How is it reacting to what the person is saying? Just noticing. You're not you're not fighting with it. You just notice it. And sometimes you will get pulled into a reaction that the person says, and then you find yourself arguing, or you'll find yourself giving a strong opinion, or whatever it might be. And then you notice that. And maybe you could even, in this moment, just relax back into listening. Because again, you're giving yourself a small, this little space between reaction and responding. Responding is when you have the possibility, when the possibility is there for a response which is outside your usual reactions. So this is what I'm calling mindfulness meditation. It's not actually from me. I didn't make it up, but this is the way I understand it. You may understand it a little bit different. You may have, of course, read other articles. You may have come across different experts, but this is just my understanding that I'm sharing with you. Maybe you have a different response, or I should say, a different understanding that you would like to share with me. You can also get in touch with me and let me know any thoughts you might have. That would be interesting for me to know. Thank you. So until next time, I hope you found this useful as to getting you going with mindfulness exercises or practices.